Yeah, actually, I don't mind. I don't mind the shoveling it because I don't go sledding. I don't go uh, sledding anymore because my kids are all grown and it, bumping up and down the ground doesn't feel quite as good as it used to.
I can't take hits like it used to.
You have a point.
So shoveling the snow kind of is my only, and I like snow, so it's my only snow activity.
Yeah, when you have time to take care of it, like I had time yesterday to take care of it, but if it's.
Well, you're right. When you have time, if you,
When you buy a snowblower.
I actually,
do.
uh,
I did.
the first time it snowed, I had one of my sons, his girlfriend helped me shovel it when it was 6 or 7 inches. Then I went out at 11 o'clock and shoveled it before I went to bed. And luckily that was the end of the snow. My driveway was clear when I woke up in the morning. I said, "Oh, that's all right." Good timing.
Trent told me he did that, whether it was Saturday night or whatever.
I think, yeah.
He went out at 9. He said the next morning, his was the only, and he said, I bet all the neighbors were like, what the heck?
Yeah, so they got a little bit of rain and warmed up.
Yeah,
He said he went out at 9:30 and.
Yeah, when I did it the second time, maybe it was before 11. When I did it the second time, it snowed. It was still coming down, but it was more wet. And so I went over it again real quick. When it's not that heavy, it was pretty moist. So, all right, we got anybody online with us? All right, well, let's call this meeting to order. This is my official last meeting as a member of the Redevelopment Corporation. And that also means it's my last meeting as the presiding over these meetings. So when you meet in January, I assume by then Jim Miller will have been named a new person.
I doubt it.
And then that means that one of you will have to take on the role of the what am I titled as, president or chair or whatever it is. So it's been enjoyable. I've learned a lot, but I am now taken on. Todd's wife suckered me into another board. It's like a full-time job. So
Well, she took on a full-time.
She did take on a full-time job. No, I'm doing some other things, and it just seemed like it was a good time for me to make a switch. So Jim's aware of it. It has been since October. Whatever day I sent it to him, I sent it to you all. So you've seen that. And I was gonna step down last year and stay on another year. I'm glad I did, but like I said, it's time for me to move on. So we'll still see all of you around town, or either around the little town or around the big town, whichever it might be. More likely maybe the big town than the little town, but we'll still be here. So with that, why don't we have 2 sets of meeting minutes in front of you. I guess we didn't, I thought we approved the minutes before, but I guess we didn't. So we're approving the August minutes, but we're also approving the September minutes, which had an amendment to the August minutes. So we've had a chance to review those. And then I think we could probably take a motion to them together if there's not anything to be changed on either of them.
I so moved. Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. There wasn't enough ayes, I didn't.
Just making sure that I don't have to ask for an A. All right, so it's passed.
Another guest. Oh, that does.
All right, well, very good.
Hi.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Doug.
Well, since we have company with us, guests with us, and I assume that you are interested in a particular piece of property, we could certainly start there in discussion. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to share as far as updates of what things are going on, and then we can maybe go from there.
I would like to share some background information. As you mentioned, you represent the 53 acres at 43 and 65. And several months ago, I attended a similar meeting, and a prospect who I could not name had requested water and sewer location information, which I highly respect. So due to Homeland Security, those weren't freely available, and I was advised to contact water and sewer. My 2 phone calls weren't removed or weren't returned. And the prospect moved on. I'm now at liberty to tell you who that was. It was the Parkview Hospital Group that had considered more of a regional location for their hospital. I can't guarantee that they would have moved, but they didn't feel very welcome to get information about that site. So my long-winded point is, collectively, town, community, owners of the land, and what I do, love to work with you all to develop a more welcoming manner to be able to share information with legitimate prospects on either one major or a good mix of uses there. So I'm here to learn, not criticize, but I thought if I gave you the background to that story, it might change how we've been approaching development of that property.
And what was the information they needed again? It was,
It wanted a location of water and sewer, and of course, the utilities are very important to any use, but particularly with medical use. And no one, I couldn't say who it was. Had I said that we have a hospital looking at the property, maybe that would have worked better, and I might have been able to do that. But my confidentiality agreement was pretty locked tight on not being able to mention even the use, certainly not the name. And again, I'm not trying to say that had we been able to give them every bit of information that they would have landed there, but they were looking at multiple sites around West Lafayette, including the concept of a regional site, and this site fit the bill for that concept. They may have indeed decided to move or choose closer to West Lafayette, but we don't know. So anyway, again, the point is, love to work with the group as a team on how to best be able to deliver information to prospects.
And speak to that because everything that we do goes through Butler Fairman engineers.
I understand, but I was directed to water and sewer, they wouldn't return my call. So.
water and sewer, who is with Water Conservancy or Water and Sewer?
You're local.
Yeah, we have a specific superintendent for each one to answer questions like that, but they're both hands-on managers. They don't sit in an office, so.
I love the response. I'm not here to totally criticize and that. I'm here to help us.
Once again, I'd like for you to reach back out to me so that I can
Okay,
pull them
Fair
out and
enough,
say,
fair enough.
we need to sit down and talk about it.
fair enough. Before I found out I wasn't having my calls returned, I was told they're Xing on site because of information. So again, not to be critical, I'm trying to learn and help us all develop a better program to deliver information, and certainly work with the FNS Butler Fairman before.
So was it Butler Fairman who was not returning the call,
No.
or is it?
No.
So, I mean, I personally think someone should talk to a city employee, town employee, and make sure the Water Conservancy employee know that returning phone calls is important.
Well, what does location of facility mean?
Location of water and sewer. Well, that's a very ordinary question for a
Well,
developer to
What do
ask.
you want for an answer?
Yeah. That would be-
Location of water and
On a
sewer,
map,
in any format.
like where the mains are at?
Yeah, that sort of,
Like existing? I mean, we have.
yes, and future plans if available.
Yeah, because I was wondering if we could have said, I think there was, we didn't want to get the exact location, but you could say. Where there's a main line that goes through, or there's a, or some, what I mean, something, so you can at least know. If the property has what it has access to, I suppose.
Yeah, access. So they can begin their engineering about costs and some other things.
Or at least like how far once you tapped a main, how far you had to go to get on site, on property or whatever.
You know more about that than a lot of people are thinking,
Okay.
Travis.
Can you tell Travis again what who the prospective buyer was?
Parkview Hospital.
They building in West Lafayette? No.
Yes,
Yeah.
Franciscan.
yeah, what, so they all are.
No,
now.
they all are.
They
yeah,
all are
they
now.
all are. Everything.
Yeah, every IU, RNF, Franciscan, even Ascension had one down by the airport. Or Purdue. So again, yes, as a team, how can we best relay information to legitimate prospects, not somebody that wants to go full wheel or hunting and shooting out there, but someone that wants to develop the site.
Now, as a landowner, I can know what's on my property, right? And what access my property has, and water access property has. So if the landowner asks the Water Conservancy or the town what runs across my property, they can, right? That ought to be a fair question.
I would think so. Yeah, if it runs across the property or. if
The
it's-
silly thing is you can call in a locate to dig and they're come out and mark it.
They usually contact the town would get contacted as part of the.
Everybody.
Yeah. But I have known a lot of times, even in the city of Lafayette, that half the time, nothing gets marked, but you have to be persistent with it.
Right.
But I do think we could we know the parties that are in play, we know the Conservancy, we know the water, right, and we also know people personally at BF&S. Cause they know the volume and stuff like that. And maybe what it takes is a little bit, probably, I mean, talking to Georgia, she could, I don't wanna put you in the, I mean, you kind of said contact you if it doesn't. Cause I've talked to the parties that be and half the time it is hard to get them to return a call or get a hold of them because they're out in the field doing stuff.
Sure.
But collectively, we know enough, the people to maybe get your answers and find out.
Oh, well, I understand what
Inquiry should go through the office.
Yeah, I think so too, because she may go, that might be a question any of us can answer, or you know the person directly to
I
contact.
don't have the information here that I can give, that's why I said, let's contact the
Yeah.
superintendent, but. If it's something that it shouldn't get out, I mean, I didn't know. Exactly what the limitations were on. So I would just say, yeah, I'd bump it up to Butler Thurman, because they got everything that, well, by now, they've got the sewer and the water. They've got everything, the regional sewer
There was no capacity.
that isn't in the ground yet, that will be in the ground through there, so,
Yeah.
yeah, capacity, right, all of that.
Because those are probably the main ones, because they want to know, hey, how big of a hospital can we build, how many beds, how many restrooms, how much capacity would it potentially have per room? And,
Mhm.
and,
wastewater handling.
yeah,
I don't, that probably hasn't come up to any of you, but the town council just completed a build, operate, transfer agreement that starts in the spring to put a regional lift station to replace, and upgrade a lot of the sewer lines that goes all the way from that area down to the plant. So there will be a lot of work going on there in the next 18 months.
I think that you received a notification of
Yeah.
location as an adjacent property owner.
So they were gonna be surveying, but they didn't say exactly where will it go across our property? Just,
You will use the easement that's already there, just follow that same.
Is the easement up to the middle?
Yeah, when the property was surveyed 2 years ago. By the Star Group, which had positive interest in what's going on out here. They identified a water line running east-west. But that's all they determined because it was mostly above ground survey, but their calculations suggested there was a water line running through, but they didn't have any information on it.
think we did meet with the sewer. And they kind of witched across the field. Yeah.
Good term for us layman gadget, which
Yeah,
they could sense the metal.
that is what happened. It was witched.
Travis knows more about it.
I used to poo-poo that, and I finally figured it out, it's like, damn, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember that I had the field crew meet a bunch and it kind of,
Uses it all the time.
I think it's on one of those maps that kind of shows where that sewer line, force main goes to.
The thing with,
It
that,
also lies to you sometimes.
I thought that was just some voodoo y'all do out.
Well, it comes down to generality, like, it can pop in, but if you get a generality of a direction and it consistently gives it to you, then trust it a little bit more. Yeah, it's a.
We recently had a corporate meeting and our priority right now is to sit down with the homeowners association of Quail Ridge.
Yeah,
And I don't know if everybody's aware that we are under a covenant, 600-foot, what's it called?
the deed restriction,
Restriction on what we can put on 600 feet.
660.
all the way, I think it's not, it goes the whole length of the subdivision all the way over to the state police post. And limits you to what it can do.
It doesn't quite go to the police, but
There's
there's a
there's
little.
quite a
Little
hundred,
strip
150 and 200 feet that's not in the
in that covenant.
660.
Are we part of that?
There's no homeowner association, it's a
lives there.
restriction. That's a restriction on the specific deeds of the houses that are adjacent.
There's nobody to talk to. Well, we were hoping that somebody, we're afraid that if we go to them directly, they're gonna say, well, no, we're not gonna deal with the people that wanna develop the property. We don't wanna send a lawyer, because then they're gonna say. But there's no association.
Well,
The
but.
people that
but-
signed the
yeah.
covenant are the ones that are right along adjacent to our property.
Yeah, we were going to, we were talked about, and I was trying to find my note from back in April, we had talked about. Trying to pull together a meeting and trying to figure out. What they think, and I think we at that point, we talked against it. I guess the question was, what do we hope to accomplish, and if it's just to clear the air, or is there something that you bring that potentially, you know what I mean, that's the piece, because I don't think we know. And George and I sat down with, I can't think of his name now, the guy at the end,
Ron LaFawn.
yeah, and he seemed like, when I talked to him, it seemed like we guaranteed he wouldn't have water in his yard and his basement wouldn't flood, and some of those things that were happening. Before that, I think it seemed like he could be reasonable, but.
Yeah, it was written, trying to steer the only development there. Even though it's zoned neighborhood business in the 660 feet. Restriction wasn't specifically single family homes, but it steered everything there. It was basically no apartments. No multifamily of any sort. Trying to target that it would just be more single family homes.
Okay.
Even though it's within the neighborhood business zoning. That area. So to me, it seemed more like they were trying to prevent certain uses from occurring, not necessarily saying only single family. It was written in 1994, so.
And the size of that mound. And the tall. And the tree, and you had to plant so many trees and the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, from a general perspective, it was too much, because it's hard to maintenance. We designed a lot of trees and a lot of buffer areas, and that was something.
Well, to your point, it's overkill. It restricts the use, but it requires the mound with trees, which would be even more of a barrier than if homes were going in there.
Yeah.
So not only would it be practical to have that lessened or removed, as well as consider other uses. In fact, your fine plan, the gateway plan, was a great, excuse me, yeah,
Something like
right over
that.
there. Great way, a great mixed use plan. It does either coincidentally or by plan show townhomes next to Quail Ridge, which I would hope would be an acceptable use. But what's occurring is when we tell developers, we have a nice plan for you, but we need to go through the Quail Ridge restriction waiver or adjustment, they just say, we don't want to fight that battle, and off they go. And then I think more than one person has said, if you just go to Quail Ridge and say, what would you cancel that agreement, they're gonna say, no, not until we know what's coming next. So it's a real stalemate, for lack of a better term, because I respect Quail Ridge for saying, we're not gonna give on that until we know what's going, and the developer says, we're not gonna go through all the engineering and planning with that in place. It's a real conundrum.
We're just afraid that until we sit down with those people, that we're just gonna be, this is just gonna go on and on, because they don't know what we're thinking and we don't know what they're thinking. Well, our hope would be to get however many, like 6 homeowners in this room with several of us from the corporation, and just sit down and say, okay, here's what we would like, how do you feel about it? I mean, because we're not talking about putting in a swine operation or something horrible. We're talking about working with those people and saying, this is what we would like to do, but we need to know where they're coming from. Until we sit down with them and talk, it's just gonna go on for.
I think we discussed it, because typically what will happen in that situation is they'll want to say, what else could you do to buffer the area? And, you know, in today's area, if you have a GB or an NB against some sort of residential, there's now a standard buffer yard that they have approved that we use. It's overkill too, but it is not 75 feet wide. It is more of a 25-foot buffer. Yeah, it's like 20, depending on the classification, it could be 20 to 30 feet wide. And if you mound it up, you don't have to put as tall as trees. And it does serve, because I think I had the architect draw from that guy's specific backyard, if there was a tree, what was his line of sight? And it was just the kind of an archaic drawing, but it was like his line of sight off his. And so then it really doesn't matter what's built on that side. But I think part of it's going to be, it's like, they'll say, well, until we see something specific, but there are some current zoning that you would put in place today, if you didn't have this restriction, that would require this buffer yard. That is not 75 feet, because, you know, I look at something like a big mound like that. It's gonna look horrible. It's not gonna get maintained. And is that what they wanna look at? If you have 20 or 30 feet, that's maintainable. It's what the current.
Yeah, what seemed like that big of a mound would make water run towards their houses too. That's
Well, it would be like I mean, no water would ever leave their sites. I mean, it would head, I mean, it has, you know, if you don't have an agreement that I don't.
There would have to be a swale to the south or whatever direction it takes to.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, usually the drainage is, what does it currently run? And then you run some drainage calcs and you say, hey, by this, we can only shut off so much CFS per acre. So it's, I think there's some things that could be done, and maybe that's what needs, it's like, hey, there's a current a buffer yard for this zoning that would look something like this. We've talked about, maybe we get pictures or something. I haven't reached out to Kathy.
I tried to get her to find some elevations, she couldn't.
I mean, I have one, I mean, there's a property that we designed these apartments off of Beck and Old Romney Road, and there's a church there. And it required this buffer yard, so around this church are all these trees in this mound. And that's the only one I can remember that I've seen actually designed and implemented. And so you could look at it, if I was on the church side and this is what I saw, this is what it would kind of look like. And it's right next to apartments in a church, so there might be an opportunity to take pictures of that. The church is on, what's the North Road? Beck's over here, Old Romney's here. What is that road? Remember.
What is that road that it goes down to the 5 points?
Gosh.
I
Only designed, I mean, I can't remember much, but I mean, they did, because one of the biggest issues, they were like, man, these are massive trees, they cost a lot. And I'm like, well, it's part of the plan, they ended up getting them in. So it is possible to, you know, and you can say this is a buffering that could be put in, you know, obviously. I mean, that's what we do right now, is if someone has a zoning beside somebody, you have to put in this buffer yard. And then that's the standard, go north and east of
I
there.
guess though, the question is if we get the neighbors together,
Right.
and this is a recorded meeting, but I say that,
Yeah.
but would you get the neighbors
Church is
together?
north and west of
What
it,
do we hope that we can,
to the left.
what do you hope to get them to? Just an understanding of what you're trying to do and maybe get them to say, hey, we'll waive it, or just an understanding what you're trying to do, and then hopefully that helps smooth it later. Cause I think the stalemate is, it is a bit of a stalemate, right? I don't know if I was in their shoes that I would be too eager, although, I also don't know that I would feel good about holding someone else's property hostage. Which is kind of what they're doing, right? They're holding your property hostage because you can't sell that covenant, but.
Well, maybe nothing would come of it. I mean, we don't really have the expectation. We just like to sit down and say, where are you coming from? This is where we're at. Where are you, what are your hopes? And, because it's gonna get developed sooner or later into something. So we can put in a buffer, a berm and all that. That's fine. But we're gonna do something on the property, but we need to know. I mean, until we sit down with these people, we have no idea what they want. They have no idea what we're thinking. And this could just go on, this might go on another, it's gone on for 30 years,
Right.
basically, so.
And it may not be a bad idea to have the initial conversations, just to see where everybody's at, and then you could, hey, I mean, I've seen some mock buffer yards or little landscape area and say, hey, if this thing was mounded up and you had some trees, what would that look like? And
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're asking and what we had offered to do before was have the RDC pull that group together. And share with them, this is things we see that could be in that space. Because frankly, it's also holding up this body's work as well. Things that we might be able to do elsewhere. And then, I think that's a fair piece. And at some point in that conversation, you say, but there is one problem to all this, and that you offer a covenant that is so restrictive that it's making it hard to sell the property. Making it hard to develop property, right?
I don't know if you take that, which I think is a very good plan to them and even suggest would a mixed use like this be acceptable, or because if you just say, we need you to waive your agreement without showing what concept might be coming. Just ask them to reduce the berm, but we can't tell you what's going next door.
Well, that is the tricky part, because we can't guarantee what's going on.
We can't guarantee that, but on the other hand, no, a developer isn't gonna take this on with that restriction there. It is a real stalemate, but.
I mean, you could say, hey, we turned down Loves, they'd probably be happy to know that happened.
Well, that strategy could be a good one. Yeah, what could go here is just a few feet outside the 660 foot distance. Could be about anything, but if we all work together and control the nice mixed use of what is in there.
That's what I'd like to say to them is we want to be respectful. We understand where you're coming from. We don't want to put something in there that's gonna be 24-hour bright lights and noise, and so tell us what you want. I kind of know what they want. They want dark and quiet. Anybody would.
Right.
Surprise.
Right.
But something is gonna develop on that property sooner or later. We want to be respectful of their wishes. And if we show them that, then maybe they'd be willing to, I don't know what, I mean, until we sit down, we don't, are you finished with, are you no longer the head of this?
I'll be off. This is my last meeting, that's correct.
And who's gonna take your place?
They haven't decided yet, I don't think.
Whoever loses the coin flip.
And they also haven't named my replacement yet, so that has to happen.
What we were hoping was that somebody on this commission would go to those people, like either call them or knock on their door and say, would you be, just ask them, would you be willing to sit down for a half an hour and talk to these people? And if they say, forget it, and slam the door in your face, then we're back to square one.
I'd like to offer a suggestion.
Please.
I believe that communication needs to come from your group. But I will offer my fire station, which is a bigger room and can be set up different. in our meeting room on any day except Monday night when we hold our meetings. And you bring the people in and you can talk to them in a small group. Ask Todd to go over that. He's got slides and stuff that we can put up. And he can talk about how possibilities would work out. But this room's not conducive to very good discussion because it seems like there's a bunch of people telling you what to do.
And not to mention the fact, we're always rolling off the hill over here in Stacy.
And my fire station meeting room would let you set up tables different and everybody share instead of being talked to.
So what if we did this a hybrid of what's being proposed here? What if we sent an invitation to a meeting that was from the RDC on behalf of the Compass Group, and then
In the town.
or the town, just town, and say, hey, we want to talk about this property. They're going to come because they want to know what they want to know, and then it's a chance to present what we're thinking.
I mean, I could bring stuff and say, hey, this is maybe just pictures and show what a buffer yard looks like outside of what the covenant says. And then that way they can ask questions, and then maybe we can fine tune it to what exactly is their, over designing a buffer yard to make it higher or whatever could be done. It just depends on what they say. I mean, either they say pound salt or they're, okay, what would this kind of look like? So.
Well, I'd have to think the right property there would be good for them. I mean, in this way, the way the property is now, if I was buying one of those pieces of property, I would assume something's gonna go behind me and I don't know what it is.
I don't know that.
So I would be less likely to wanna buy the property because I don't know what's there, right? Whereas I bought other property where I know what's behind me and therefore I'm comfortable that it's gonna stay, The woods behind my house once was set aside as reserves, and they can't do anything with it because they've already taken the tax credit, so they're out of luck. So, you know what I mean? That I think there's benefit to that if they could know what it is. So then the question would be if and again, this is my last RDC meeting, so it's easy, not for me. I just just things we could just do and then let you all figure it out. I am willing to help with the meeting, but I'll be in an unofficial capacity, obviously. If you need someone to help facilitate the meeting, but
When is the next redevelopment committee meeting?
be in January.
Second Monday in January at 7:00.
I mean, there's no point in trying to
That's
organize
fine.
something before the holidays. We could push it into. I don't think we've been sitting on this for 30 years, so there's not like a panic to get it done, but. I just think until our group sits down with those homeowners and says, what do you want? What can we do?
Yeah.
And they're either gonna say, well, forget it, we like a nice dark field back there, we don't want any kind of development.
It's hard to fight that. And then, but hearing from the people who own it, I mean, and the people who own the houses, and you get to hear face to face and say, you're a normal person. Oh, you're not this conglomerate who's trying to just ruin our lives and just have open conversations.
Well, and you have family in the neighborhood. I mean, it's not like, right, your guys are from the neighborhood. It's not, it's.
So Hawks.
Yeah. It's not like it's, like you said, this group, you're from Dallas, Texas, and you're here to, do something on our land.
We're not gonna shove anything down their throats. I mean, we didn't do Love's truck stop or whatever, and. I mean, who's to say that if another truck stop comes along, we wouldn't agree? I mean, if our hands are so tied that we can't do anything with the property, we might just take whatever we can get. We don't wanna do that. We don't wanna do something to those people that's going to damage their lifestyle or their quality of life. I mean, we understand. I mean, we all own homes. We don't want some bright, noisy development right in our backyard. That's what I'd like to say to them. We get it. We're homeowners and we wouldn't want it any more than they do.
Well, I've been a proponent of this since the first time we talked about it. We were prepared to do it. I forget why we didn't do it the first time. Something happened, something came up, and I think you all also had a death in the family and our condolences for that over the summer. But I mean, I would be in favor of it, but again, I'm not in a position here to be the one that says if we're gonna do it or not. So I'm happy to be present and help facilitate the meeting. That's something I do, but other than that, I won't make a commitment for the rest of you.
So who would send out these invitations?
I would,
Okay. So now all we need to do is set a time and date.
Choose a date. The RDC meets on the 26th, so you wouldn't want that date, but you could choose any other that's not a Monday.
I think we should have something, still think we should have something kind of concrete to present to them, not just. What would you allow us to do here? Because in that case.
They go, oh, we want to see, they'll just say, because right now, you could put residential. And. I mean, that's not, I mean, that's just to be honest, I mean, to develop that site, residential there just isn't. You know,
If you're at the meeting, could you present the gateway, just say, this is kind of what we have.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's many things that could go there that's. I know all about buffer yards, and I could express and look, this, you know, I mean, I don't know if I'd say that or not, like, it's a. This huge hill and all this stuff, so, you know, when we put some fence, it's gonna forget about the fence, you're gonna see an ugly fence, you're gonna see trees and. You're gonna see, I wouldn't even mow the hill, you know, I put, cause you had to put the fence on your side. And you put, and then I think you put this hill in and these trees, I'm thinking, well, who's gonna go over there and maintain it, so. Make something that's maintainable, make something that buffers, you know, and I can speak on behalf of, we've done a lot of buffer yards. In very congestive situations in the city, well, I've done many of them. Just speak from that point, you know.
Yeah, I think that you have to establish that your goal is to sell it commercially, and that's why you've been on it. And frankly, the town needs it to sell commercially as well, for us to accomplish the reasons we set up TIF in the first place.
Pay for sewer.
Yeah, and you don't want your sewer bill to go up a lot, we need something besides houses to go in there.
Well, and that's a fair, I mean, that's a fair. I mean, that's probably, if you wanna talk about something that hits everybody, is that, it's like, if at the end of the day, you decide this has to remain. Residential. Then the TIF, commercial TIF money is not coming in, which means guess what? Your water and your sewer bill goes up, what, 60%? So, and that's the honest truth. So the question is, you know, sometimes you have to give them the true honest, say, we understand this, but here's the thing, if you just fight and fight, are you will, you know, you'll pay 60% more for your water and your sewer bill. That's the byproduct of having nothing but residential behind you.
Yeah, and I think though, you're right, your goal as a corporation, as a family, is not to put something there that's a legacy people don't like. You want it to be something people like, and certainly there is a compromise in that, I think, if we can talk through, so.
Yeah.
So it sounds like then we need, Bill has said any date except for Monday.
Mondays.
Except for Mondays, any day except for Mondays, and then what I would propose is, as you had suggested at the January meeting. You can talk through what the agenda should be, maybe schedule it for February, or I don't know how long you want us to put it out there so people can have time to know. I suspect it's a case of, if you give them a month, you'll get a certain number of people. If you give them a week, you might get more people, because it sounds like it's it's something urgent, you know, it's something quick, but that's a decision to be made. And then I think you probably just I mean, there's only 8 houses, you can just handle it for, this is when the meeting is, come.
Do you know any of those people?
No,
You know, Ron LaFawn?
Georgia does.
I know a handful of people.
We've talked to Ron in the past and he didn't seem very agreeable to any kind of development.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, you're gonna get that kind of answer from a lot of people.
Well, and I thought,
He's had issues with the drainage for years.
yeah.
Some of the neighbors have had issues with him and.
Talk to them at this meeting and find out what their push points are, because with him, it's the drainage, because he saw that the drainage that's supposed to be through the center of that field isn't working. And if what is proposed could take care of that, I think that you have him in.
I think
Yeah.
we can address a lot of their issues, I
The
think.
others, I don't think they
Yeah.
have, big noise is probably their thing.
I think
Like-
the drainage issues happen at the end of the pipe and his pond, but not before it ever hits our field. I went up and shot all that across there,
You
and it
did?
falls,
Yeah.
like,
He said it used to run and now it doesn't, so.
But if it's what's happened, his perception is that it's water. I think if the plan has clearly this is what we need to water. You know, all the lights are gonna be like Starbucks lights, not like Wendy's lights, right? If you stand on his back porch, you can't see. Wendy's lights are like just tilted enough, they're like, you know, and Starbucks are down. I mean, those are all things that I think can be sorted out. The challenge that I think any of them have, same thing that we have, is we can say this is what you have to do, but I'm not sure where the teeth are in the final product to say, hey, you didn't do it, so.
Yeah, so it's, when it comes to lighting, I mean, you can do a lot of things with downlighting, but how do you implement and say, oh, you can only have a light pole this amounts and this so many lumens? I mean, there's a lot of, when you get to design and you're working with a lighting person, you talk about noise and light pollution. I mean, there's some things you can do, but then,
I mean, how
is there something
far-
that we could do where it satisfies not us? I mean, yes, I have some technicality in that, but something that would have to, because they're like, well, how do we prevent that? But we don't want them to be the judge and jury on what is considered light pollution and noise pollution. But how can we implement something that says, hey, BFNS reviews all this, right? And maybe provide something so they're a part of the solution as, hey, it has to go through them for review for the noise and light pollution. And we'll do everything, to minimize it. And maybe we have to talk to them and say, what type of general verbiage can we put in that shows we're gonna do the best we can for them, but without saying, oh, well, you can't put a light pole taller than 15 feet. Let's find somewhere in the middle.
What kind of trees could be put on a berm that regardless of how high, I mean, unless you put the lights up 150 feet, is there a kind of tree that would grow up that could block?
It's all evergreen, and all the trees that you put in a buffer yard, and they're placed way too close together. I mean, you put 3 of them in a triangle area, I think it's 10 feet apart, and you have to buy 8-foot trees. So it's already got like a 5-foot diameter, so in 5 years, they're gonna start touching each other, but that's what the county, the city, they've all agreed to this buffer yard. And it's very dense. And
Spruces do the best.
yeah, the
as far as
spruce is what they.
Keeping the lower branches. Some of the pines are good for quite a few years and then they start losing.
So what would be a reason to put taller poles? Seems like taller poles, more product, more expense, and like be cheaper to put lower ones.
Well, the higher you go, the more coverage you have. I put in fewer.
poles, yeah.
And I
That
mean,
makes sense.
but I think there's
Particularly on downlighting.
yeah, I mean, you could do downlighting. And that's why if you have like obviously like a Walmart parking lot wouldn't be the best idea there. And if you had something that was more of the, even if it was a business, you could do these light packs that are lower that go straight down. I mean, there are so much technology with lighting that, but it's hard to say, how do you put in some sort of agreement that all this is gonna be thought of? Because at the end of the day, do they want the authority at the end of the day to say yay or nay? Well, they're not specialists in lighting and trees, but I can tell you, if you put the buffer yard that's spec'd out, I mean, it's pretty dense, so it's gonna be dense all year round. It's gonna be nothing but block out light. So.
And sound.
And sound.
So I think as we bring us to some conclusion here, we're saying yes to potentially have a meeting. We need to figure out some dates. I think maybe you guys want to think of it because you're gonna have more people to coordinate than we do and from other places potentially. I don't know how many folks you want to have
If you
present.
guys go ahead and set a date and time, we'll be there. I don't think, it'd just be Carl, Travis, maybe my cousin Julie and it'd just be 4 of us that would be there.
Okay.
So you arrange it, you plan it, and we'll be there. And I don't know if you want.
Well, I'll be
Steve,
there, even if I don't.
and we could have Eric Burns there as well if you wanted, but I don't know if they. we don't wanna throw a lawyer, we don't wanna make it look like this, so we just wanna sit down. Friendly discussion, we don't want a lawyer or
Yeah, I think that's better.
make it, I don't want them to feel threatened, like this isn't a corporate thing, this is a.
Is January a good month for you?
They're about the same for me. I mean, I'm like, going anywhere.
Is this a community announcement, so we could get anywhere from 2 to 200 or?
No, I think it needs to be very specific for them. Just them.
Okay,
Yeah,
Cause there's no reason to have, trust me, I've done, like, we were doing something across from, Columbia Park. And we had this big thing at the park gazebo. Someone from 10 blocks over was raising holy heck
Yeah.
about something and it caused a firestorm.
big disruption.
And then you realize, where are you from? And you're like, you're 10 blocks away and you look and like, why are you complaining? Look at the stuff in your yard and all that.
Yeah,
So you only want the people who are, this is gonna
Okay.
impact them.
Although, if you have the RDC membership there, then it has to be announced, doesn't it?
There's a way around it.
Okay.
It wouldn't be.
If I have it at the fire station, it can be an educational session. And then anybody we could invite can come and you can get around the public laws.
And I could be there as a technical person instead of with that, instead of
Okay.
pick a
Any
day.
day, any day.
It's on you.
if we put townhouses along the east side of our property, what does that do to the tax revenue that the city gets? You can't do it,
We want
No.
them to
no,
be-
no home,
We want
no.
them to be rentals,
No,
rented.
there's a difference between property taxes for the town and TIF revenue. And
I'll say the 15th or the 22nd. Cause it's close enough to the next one.
there's a large section up there that's part of the tax increment financing area. And your property is part of it. Any property taxes assessed goes to the TIF, not to the units like anybody else's property taxes. So,
It has to be commercial.
well,
Leave it up to you all.
it can be residential, but per square foot, residential doesn't pay like.
I'm very open, thank you.
Vacations or whatever.
And our goal as an RDC is to generate enough revenue to pay for the sewer project. So that it doesn't fall on the residents of Battleground. So as part of both sides of 43. The most effective economic situation for the tax increment financing is commercial. And if both sides were occupied commercially, it would pay for the entire sewer project that needs to be done for the town of Battleground.
But the sewer project is largely for the commercial problem too, isn't it? I mean, if we didn't have a commercial project, we probably wouldn't have to do the,
For a good bit of it, correct.
yeah, well, I guess
There's some other upgrades that's part of it
that would need to be done. Yeah, okay.
To the north and west.
Yeah, so it isn't that nothing would be done if we didn't have a commercial, but commercial helps pay for some of that
Right.
too. Yeah. Right.
So without it, the costs go up of water and, I mean, if there's no doubt, I mean, it's.
So Georgia and Todd have proposed January 15th or January 22nd. I would suggest you take the later date, then you have another week to after the holidays to try to communicate with people, but.
And I was thinking the 22nd, because then it would be closer to, it would be the week before our meeting, and then we could kind of regroup and see if we've got any feedback from the.
The 21st is already booked for the fire station. Does that matter back-to-back meetings?
What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
That's fine.
Um,
What time?
whenever you want it.
6:30?
6:30 or 7 probably for most people.
Let's make it 7.
Not to go backwards, but back to the trees on the burn,
Yes.
there's high power lines right there, like, how is that?
And I think the easement, doesn't the easement only fall on the subdivision?
Yes, there was an error
For the power,
in one of the, I believe you're right, the electric
Cause there was one that mentioned easement on the other side. I said, I don't think that was the case. It's all on, so if you're on your property technically and there's no easement on it. As long as you fall out, as long as you're outside, I mean, I've dealt with Duke plenty of times. If you're outside the easement, I mean, they were not much they could, I mean, their lines shouldn't be outside the easement. So
They're
there's,
supposed to be.
yeah, so there shouldn't be, unless you go over there and you look up and you go, yeah, if this thing came down, it's on your property. You wouldn't wanna, they would not allow you to put trees, within that, so.
If one would have to blow over into the lines or whatever,
I mean, that's,
20 years from now.
yeah, I mean, it could be a large, I mean, that's part, I mean,
But spruce is,
if it gets that big, it's not gonna be on such a
they
big hill.
still, the spruce aren't like pines, they're not like white pines that, like I say, you get that 60, 70 feet tall and.
These
I
get,
mean, they have enough base to them and they maintain that.
yeah, the ratio of width to height stays pretty solid, that's why they're,
I've never seen a spruce come over like a white pine.
no, I haven't
Do you
even.
remember when that tornado hit the state police post, knocked an antenna down?
Oh, man, how far did it go?
I don't know, but it knocked, my dad had his gas station right there and it tore the awning off of the, he had awning over the pumps.
Yeah,
Tore the awning off, knocked the antenna down at the state police post. It
wow.
wasn't a real big tornado, but it was strong enough to do that.
So how far did that fall? Seems like that's pretty tall.
Yeah, well, it just went out in the middle of the field. There was nothing there then. There was just a field.
Oh, I see.
And I don't know if that was that was back in the 80s, I think. So I don't know if Quail Ridge was there then or.
I don't think so, no.
We check the plat of it to see
Hmm.
when the.
I know
plat-
Hawks Nest probably wasn't there.
No.
No, it definitely was not, cause I remember my dad had walked with the owner of Hawks Nest before it was Hawks Nest.
Okay.
So that's been less than, that's been 25 plus
You
years
say
ago.
90s.
Yeah,
All right, so we've got a meeting planned for the 22nd, not 25, 26, January 22nd, 7 o'clock at the Bill's Firehouse. And we'll get some sort of an invitation to the 8 neighbors and everybody in the room's aware of it, so you have it on your calendars. And I suggest that first meeting of the next year, which is,
the 26th.
oh wait, you guys don't meet till the 26th, so you'll have to gather and talk about the agenda before then, or we'll have to talk about it tonight before we depart, but it seems like we have it. And you're gonna talk about what the proposal is, and at some point, we're gonna say, someone needs to say one of the challenges to the proposal is that there's a covenants on the land that's
Yeah.
very restrictive, and try to figure that out.
Yeah,
If by any chance, all 6 homeowners couldn't be there, could we let's say 5 of them can, but 1 of them can't? I mean, do we change the date or do we just keep it, say,
I guess the question is, it's hard to. You gotta get 6 of the 5 of the 6 or whatever. It's probably still worth having the meeting, cause you can always reach out to the other person or have a.
It's 6, it's not 8, it's 6.
It should be 8.
8?
I
Okay.
think it's 8. Well, I just making sure I didn't have the wrong number in my head. I mean, I think if you get 6 of the 8, I'd be pretty happy, because I just think it's gonna be hard to. It may be that we have to do depending on how the 6 react, may have to do a second. Door-to-door motion or something.
I mean, they'll have the same concerns. Oh, I wanna see, what would this be, what would it look like? Then we can specifically address that question, say, what does that look like? And then I can go take some pictures by that church. Just to say, hey, I'm 6 foot, here's my picture. I mean, they were planted in the spring. It was the spring, for I can see from there. There's a lot of trees, it is. So I'd say this is kind of what it would look like.
Okay,
Yeah.
does that sound good?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate your help and hopefully we can get something. I mean, it's been 30 years and we'd love to get something going over there.
Because I guess your only other option is. Sell that portion at the residential rate, not the commercial rate, right? Cause then and then let whoever buys it, let them try to figure out if they can get.
Yeah, that's part of it. The other challenge is, master drainage plan, if you split uses and one developer's doing this and one developer's doing that. How are we gonna drain it so everything works well? That's more of.
And it'd be hard to get a residential to on the, because let's just be honest, the flow of this, you need to have an entrance to the west and you need to utilize 600 because the intersection on 43. And that is just gonna be, it's never gonna get better. And to have some flow coming off, and if you had to do a standalone residential in that 660 feet, you know, it might be a straight, I think go 800 feet with a road and you have a cul-de-sac. Or some sort of loop around, and you know, it doesn't. Then it limits people who can access the commercial product. Because I don't know if you'd wanna have a road that goes through, cause then you know, you don't want commercial traffic going through the residential.
NDOT still on target for the signal. They're across from
They are.
Quick Trip and this place or this location. Good, thank you.
What about the casino?
Casino.
There's stuff isn't good, you know.
Well, I'd heard rumors about the place where the old Holiday Inn was. They were gonna turn it into like a.
MGM, but it's not a
MGM.
casino.
MGM is the owner of record, but it's not big MGM. That's
No.
just the three letters that the developer has. They subdivided that site so they could build 2 hotels, I guess.
They got variances and setbacks and stuff.
But it's not the MGM.
And Quick Trips is moving, they've got 3 contractors that they're meeting with to make a decision in the next week.
So that means they're gonna break ground in April of 27.
Oh,
He's being facetious.
You know,
Because
So
we've been
where,
gonna break
where
in April.
they're moving to, they're not gonna be right there at,
Yeah, it's still the
it's
same.
still there.
And that whole intersection is supposed to, the signalization, the alignment of the 2 roads, it's gonna be you know, it's gonna make that much nicer because, I mean, obviously we had the person off the bus that got hit. Making the fact that people might actually go from one side to the other, with a crossing.
Anybody who crosses that road, they
Sure.
oh,
It's
so-
already crowded and dangerous, and when we develop both sides of it, then it'd be crazy not to put a signal on.
Yeah.
But I think a entrance off 600 would benefit all the neighborhood.
Well, yeah.
And provide the ability, at least if we can get a trail
A back door, yeah.
to have bicycle or foot access without, because there's no way to come in off 43
Right.
Right.
on foot or bicycle or.
So in the signal is this supposed to go in before the QT or at the same time?
It'll be during the process.
Process.
Very good.
Okay, thank you all.
Yep,
Thank you.
progress.
Thank you.
Making progress. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What other old business do we have?
I'll be
He was one I was gonna ask
See you
about,
later.
so that was helpful. Any updates on Northgate? I haven't heard from anyone. Georgia, have you?
No, not on you.
The restroom work, last time I'm sure it was out of order.
Thing
I'm not
was-
sure if it's restroom work.
It changed.
Last time it did. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I still got a truck.
Too early to say Merry Christmas.
It almost.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming. You're welcome to stay for the rest if you want, but it's.
It's gonna be exciting.
No, it's gonna be.
Oh, the excitement has left the building.
It's gonna be less exciting than yours, because we don't know anything, we don't know any information. So the Northgate folks, and I think about, they're waiting on us to contact them with their tap fee, right?
They asked for the TIF.
They asked TIF for help,
Yeah, they asked for,
and we said we couldn't give them any. And then we said that the only thing we might be able to do is talk to town into waiving the. Whatever the fee is, but we don't know what the fee is to know what we're asking the town to waive.
Butler Fairman about that, and they said they'd never really seen that done.
Waiving the fee.
Mhm.
Okay. Alright.
They also asked for a tax abatement, and that's when I went to calculate what they pay for taxes. In Lafayette at their rate versus what they would pay for ours, and I sent that, because ours is attractive. Our tax rate's much lower.
And that perhaps may be another stalemate, Depending on how adamant they are that if if you all don't give them something.
I didn't get a call from anyone, but I wondered if they were still interested because Lafayette, the Greater Lafayette Development
Or, yeah, they have.
announced
redeveloped.
4 more hotels that they knew of that
Wow.
had already chosen locations. So
Wow.
I didn't know.
Dennis's office?
Apply or if it was gonna be multifamily only.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're in the sewer puts us in a pickle because there's places that have it, they're ready, they can go. And we're, until we have it, and I understand the towns, I mean, Jim doesn't wanna sign he didn't wanna be the one that put everyone's sewer bill as 4 times what it was, because.
No, it's signed, it's
You
going,
got up and
it's a go.
No, is there, I guess it's along the same line, and I know we have it in our notes, but what's the latest on Woods Edge, the UHC, what is it, UHC?
UMC.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing that was,
Is it, yeah, have they decided what contributions, have they finalized their portion?
In negotiation now,
Jeez. I mean, that has an impact on,
but we'll find out something next Monday, I'm sure, because that's the council meeting.
council, okay, so. So technically, by the time we meet again, we would have had. We'll have that knowledge. And then we'll have a meeting with. Both sides, which I'm glad that they came and kind of. Showed up and talked about that, I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
and I think it's good it came from them because. Us trying to usher one side to do something. Just gives just a general appearance, but you're like, no, they came to us, they won. I think Parkview would still ended up, that one.
no, we weren't set
that
up.
was important, yeah.
I don't think, so. I was sitting there going,
He's like that all the time.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It made no sense that he didn't contact the office.
no, if you're calling the field people, then you're,
I'm a
So we'll come to the end of the meeting and we'll have drinks here afterward and just.
And have a
moment,
discussion.
Just a moment, but
Yeah.
any other new business or any other old business we need to talk about officially here, so we got the QT, thank you for those updates, that's good to know. Any I won't be facetious, but I'll be happy, when it breaks ground, we'll be like, woo.
you're gonna be out there celebrating the first shovel.
That's all right.
I had a discussion with one of the people that's been. And they wanted 3 local companies. So they interviewed them and sometime, I think in 2 weeks, they're supposed to have their bids together.
Hmm,
And
okay.
so something's really happening,
That's good.
but it was nice that they really wanted to have somebody local do it.
Interesting.
Do you know who would be big enough, I mean, cause when you think about something like that, I mean. Who's big enough for, I mean, what's small enough, I mean.
We saw that one in Southern Indiana.
Yeah, it's
And
Terre Haute.
there, no,
Well, there's the one that does.
when we were
gas
going to
stations.
Louisville,
Yeah.
that was like, North of Salem?
It's on the way
no, the one they're building,
yeah. It was.
we were on our way to Louisville.
Missouri. It was right outside Terre Haute.
So, we'll let 2 of you sort that out. I've been in those conversations. Northgate, then we have no updates and we're just kind of waiting, sewer project is waiting with this, is there any other old business? Am I forgetting something? Nothing on the other side of another side of.
No, I think things are just waiting on the sewer I mean, once. That happens, I think people will start. Doing stuff.
Any new business? I think that's where on the last piece, any new business?
I have not heard anything. No.
Okay.
No.
With that, there's no new business, we're done with the old business. We're at the end of the agenda, someone's told me we're end of the agenda, the meeting's at an end, but
When did
we
we,
motion to.
motion to adjourn?
Second.
And then it's over.
All right. Now we can end the
Oh, did we move? Oh, yeah, we did, sorry.